Hi, and welcome to Forever Exiled. This is episode 285, of Forever Exiled, audio-only Path of Exile podcast. Well, kind of Path of Exile. Oh, mostly Path of Exile. I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days. Normally, we're joined by Justin, a.k.a. Tags, but this week I'm stuck with...
I'm Erin, also known as Echo Sierra 19, also known as Whiny Wad's wife.
Yeah, we're joined by my wife this week, which is going to be a lot of fun. Justin finally got so sick of me, he needed a week off, so here we are. Just want to give a shout out to our patrons and our supporters. We love your faces very much, and thank you, Road W2K, for signing up this week. We greatly appreciate it. I always think it's really cool that, like, we're just a podcast, two buds chatting, in this case, two buds chatting, or pretending to be two buds chatting, but I always think it's really cool that we're actually a part of people's routines. You know what I mean? Like, you think about it, like all the other podcasts you listen to, like, it's part of your routine. Their new episode comes out whatever day it is, and it's coming out. But it's weird to think that we're like that in other people's lives. So anyway, when you sign up, whether you're a supporter, financial supporter or not, we greatly appreciate it. We think it's really cool to be a part of your weeks. And Road W2K, I just want to give a slight little shout out to your name there, because I'm a big fan of the 2K stuff. Remember all that 2K thing? All the computers. I had a hat.
Y2K?
Yeah, Y2K. Oh, it was awesome. So anyway, welcome Road, and welcome Erin. Hey?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I really wish it was a video podcast today, because Tyler and I are really close together, sharing a mic, and our knees are touching, and it's very cozy in here.
This is the closest we've been since mandatory Valentine's stuff. So also, even though, Justin, you're not here, this is the week to congratulate you on your closed beta anniversary for PoE 1. Yeah, I guess now we have to specify. April 29, 2012, Justin joined the Path of Exile community. What an old timer. No wonder he needs a break. His back's probably sore.
If it's April, though, why is his anniversary now?
Oh, wait, is it April?
You said April.
Oh, it is. Hang on. No, wait, you're right. I'm doing this way too early. Oh, it is April. Oh, the one I was supposed to write down. Oh, congratulations, PlayStation 4 on your 6-year anniversary. March 26th was when Path of Exile 1 came out on PS4. Justin, screw you. You can wait a month.
It's a good thing Justin's not here.
Yeah, it's also a good thing you are here. So anyway, that's rad. And how was your week, love? Do you have a good week? You want to talk about it? I don't even know if we've actually... Did we? Yeah, we've hung out. We hung out lots this week. Way too much.
I know. I was going to say, what happened this week that you don't already know about?
Well, I mean, I already know about everything, but we had our daughter's birthday this week. And that was... I don't know what other parents are like, but I always want it to be a resounding success. Like, we don't go crazy and do everything nuts, but we obviously want them to be excited for their birthday, feel special on their birthday, feel celebrated on their birthday. And most of the time with a kid, like, you do that for 30 minutes and then they go off and play with, you know, whatever new thing they have. But she was really picky. And I mean, we don't have the money to throw around, but we did what we could with our budget. And I don't know, it felt really good this year. Like, she seemed like it was perfect. And I felt really good about it.
She made us feel like super parents, because she'd said many times that this was her favorite day, her best birthday. And we didn't do anything super spectacular. She knew what she wanted and we executed it. And yeah, she definitely made us feel like we knocked it out of the park. So yeah, we're the best. It's more about us. You know? Her.
But the funny thing is, like, we didn't actually do anything. We just, like, we get the kids to fill out like little lists and update their lists on Google Keep for, like, and, you know, rank them, drag them up and down based on like how much they want a certain thing or not. And her top 5 things were all affordable. And then she wanted to go to a place that she's always been to, and it's just a small admission fee. So we actually didn't do anything, but she doesn't know that. So it was awesome. It was really awesome. And what else? You broadcasted a ton.
I did. I made it a bit of a point to broadcast on Twitch a few times. I'm enjoying doing that, but cognizant of how much time it takes. So I'm glad we got to spend some family time together too.
Did you see when I was making reminders and stuff for this, getting ready for Violet's birthday? I guess we're at that stage of life now, you know, like AI and, you know, sending reminders, voice texting, all that kind of stuff. So I told Google to remind me at a certain time to wrap Violet's gifts, but it didn't say GIFs. It said GIFs, GIFS. And that made me laugh. It made me think that I am extra old now because who wraps gifts anymore when you could just get them sent?
But even you saying gifts now, you don't say the T. No one says gifts.
Do you think that's an accent thing?
I don't know if it's an accent thing or just how people get lazy when they talk.
So ever since I went to LA with Justin in the summer, and the Uber driver immediately pointed out that one of us has an accent, and unfortunately it was me. I can totally hear our accents, our kids' accents, your accent, especially when you're laughing and having a great time on your what do you do? Twitch. I cannot believe how thick our accent is. Like I feel like we're from the East Coast. I mean, not like Irish East Coast, but car. Hey, get in the car.
Do I say car like that? I don't think so.
You said it now. I would love to hear you say Ziploc bag.
No, I refuse. I will never.
Yeah. So anyway, but the other night when was it last night that I went to bed early, or 2 nights ago I went to bed early and you were broadcasting? Our house, like where the computer's situated, listeners, compared to where our master bedroom is, they're on opposite ends of the house, but we have an old house, and I swear it sounds like you're in the bedroom right under my pillow laughing and like yell talking to your to your followers, because I was looking, I came down and I shut your door, I shut the master bedroom door, and I'm lying there and I could hear everything. It was hilarious. We're at opposite ends of the house.
Yeah, I was definitely yell talking because I had both headphones over my ears. Normally I keep one off so I can kind of gauge my volume more, but was that when you came down and closed the door and I didn't?
Yeah, but I didn't have any clothes on, so I didn't stop by to say hi or anything. So I just had to close it and run.
My viewers would have loved that if you stopped by.
Yeah, I'm sure Twitch would have too. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah. I'm glad I could join you.
Hang on, let me check this off. Intros done. Thanking patrons. Thank you, patrons and non-patrons. We love you. Congratulated Justin next month for his beta anniversary. You want to talk about lawns, dear? Hey, good news. You listened to the podcast, the main episode, right?
Yes.
And you heard me a few weeks ago say that I was going to spend the money to flatten our lawn, like level our lawn and go through all that. Well, good news. I have unanimously decided that we should not do that. A, because the new quotes are double what they were 2 years ago, because apparently inflation just goes up by 100% every few years. But also, as I walk the dog, like, so the other day, the kids were really excited. Like, our son isn't under the, what were the restrictions called again, where he wasn't allowed to ride his bike? What was
seizure protocol? It was the seizure restrictions.
Right. So for a year, he wasn't allowed to ride his bike anywhere where if he had a seizure, it would obviously cause him to be in a dangerous situation, like on a sidewalk on a busy street. He could ride his bike in our cul-de-sac, but not on a busy street. So that time frame recently expired. So he was excited to ride in all the dangerous places, and, you know, parents' dream come true. So anyway, we went for a walk and the kids are riding their bikes. And so our dog, Riley, is older now. I'm older, and like everything just sucks when you're walking. And so we're slowly walking around, but I'm walking around in a part of our neighborhood that I hadn't walked around in quite a while because of all of the above. And I'm looking at everyone else's lawns. And like, I don't care in terms of a comparison. It's not like Justin where he's looking at his neighbor's lawn. He's like, F you, that looks really good. I'm going to spend the money to get it better. But for me, I like, you know, when you buy something, right, like a house, you take good care of it. Right. So to me, the lawn's a part of that. And so it's not the comparison thing. But when I was looking at everybody else's lawns, like the raccoons, like grubs are every year, raccoons are like all over the place. We're constantly fighting moles. Well, not fighting, allowing, but moles are getting into stuff and mounding up our yard. And I'm looking at everyone else's yards, and it's just, we all look the same. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's just how it goes. So going to do the manual work, dear. And you can help. Hey,
I can help if I want.
I'm letting you help me with
I'm pretty sure I'm busy when that's happening. Yeah, lawn talk is going to be short this week, friends. Sorry, because I don't. Actually, I shouldn't talk about the lawn, because the last time we talked about it in After Dark, that time I was here, I said embarrassing things about my bush. So I'm not going to do that again.
And you had enough to drink that you didn't notice the innuendos. So that was amazing. Thank you for that, by the way. But we will be doing After Dark. For those that are listening and hearing that Justin's gone for the first time, we are going to have an After Dark episode for you this evening. Erin and I are going to record it. And, well, there's probably not going to be any After Dark this time. For patrons, actually, that is something that I forgot. If you are signing up for our Patreon, you do get that extra podcast. We call it After Dark, and it's more unscripted talk, just like this episode. But it's even less scripted, even though this is barely scripted. But we're not going to have any Path of Exile. Well, it's honestly, we probably sometimes talk more Path of Exile and After Dark, but sometimes we don't ever talk about Path of Exile. But we guarantee that we will touch on Path of Exile in the main episode, like right now. So
you're really selling After Dark.
I know.
Really
No. Actually, After Dark's awesome, and the main episode's awesome, and anybody who doesn't like it can just stick it. So, but this week there was a few teasers, right, for PoE 1 and PoE 2. Well, mostly just PoE 2. But anyway, did you see any of the stuff? Like, I had some links for you to check out just in case. And Erin does like Path of Exile. For people that haven't like followed or know Erin, she does like PoE. It's just not her primary game. Anyway, cool, right?
Yeah. Well, to kind of get in a little bit to my perspective on the game, I really like PoE 2. I think I like it more than PoE 1, but I don't know the game as well as obviously Justin and Tyler do. And I have fallen into a bit of a rut with it after I finished, what was it called? It was the first 3 acts, right? So I'm stuck on the wolf boss guy. What's his name? Gregor?
You know the name as well as I do. I've seen the name a million times, but I think I have like a blind of hate on it, and it's just this big blur.
Yeah, you really hate that boss. I'm doing a warrior class. I made it into cruel, and I'm stuck on the wolf boss guy. And then so I decided to kind of take a pause from it, but I do follow some of the news, and obviously I'm married to Tyler, so I hear about it whether I want to hear about it or not. But I did hear about the race that they're doing, which, to be frank, I don't entirely know what a race is, but I was reading up on it, and it looks like it's the finale that's starting when we're recording. It's starting in what? Is that true? 8 minutes?
What? No, I don't know. But anyway, they had another race. I think they had 3 races. They're all done now. And it's just like they just set a threshold, like, hey, go and kill it. You remember Doriani? We actually both really liked that boss at the end of the 3rd act. That was where it gets all mechy and stuff, but there's no extra ads. Anyway, it was like the first one to kill that one. And in the first race, it was done like 2.5 hours. Second race, it was done 2 hours and 20 minutes. This one, who cares? It's the same person that's winning every time. But even though it's close, like there's other people that could do it in under 2.5 hours too. So I don't know if it was actually 2.5 hours, but see the laptop they give away?
The laptop is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I'm definitely not a speedy gamer when it comes to PoE. I'm extremely slow, so this would never be my thing, but I'm very impressed whenever I see people just crushing through the game really quickly. But yeah. Cool laptop.
Cool laptop. Almost as cool as an Xbox controller.
What else we got?
Well, you like skins and concept art and stuff like that. Did you take a look at those?
Let's talk about these. I can't say these names though. Do you want me to try to butcher them?
Yeah.
The Thaumaturge of the Val, nailed it. And the Warlord of the Did you say don't yell?
Yeah, I said don't yell.
The Warlord of the Kauri supporter packs.
Nailed it, dear.
Totally crushed it.
Anyway, what'd you think? Do you like these? You like concept art, but did you like these? Are you into that kind of
I like this kind of, it's got Aztec Mayan kind of vibes to it. I do like it. Can you go back to the kiwi? I love pets, and the kiwis are so cute. So yes.
Did I tell you that I got the kiwi in one of them? That I use a gift card to actually buy one of the packs that wasn't just a key?
Yeah, I think
so I have the kiwi. Oh yeah, because I have the bell.
Yes, you have the bell.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting these are going to be pricey because usually the kiwi ones are.
I think these are the ones that are already out.
Oh, I haven't.
They're just the ones that are. They just show up concept art every now and then. Then next week we'll get like another one of the support pack concept arts.
Yeah, I like these. I think they look really cool. Oh,
cool.
He closed the tab, so we're done with that one.
That's it. You're done. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Did you see any of the video links? I know there was one from last week, but obviously you and I didn't talk about it on the podcast, but Justin and I did. But you saw the Dawn of the Hunt teaser?
Yeah, I saw it, and last week you mentioned my response to it. So,
what was your response? I don't listen to anything you say.
When I saw it, I made the comment that I couldn't tell if it was PoE 1 or PoE 2 because it looked like
Did you? And I said that?
Yes.
Oh, that's such a mean thing for me to say on the podcast.
You called me bad names too.
Well, that
No, I'm
makes
just
sense.
kidding,
That
I'm
makes
just
sense. Oh, okay.
So my comment was, and this isn't a criticism at all, it was just that it looked to me like a league announcement. So I thought immediately it was PoE 1 because I didn't think that they were doing leagues in PoE 2. So, and then, yeah, you guys commented on the podcast about it being just the 2 spikes in the background. And that's how you can tell that's PoE 2. But I think that...
Oh, logo. Right. Yeah, logo. Right. Sorry.
I think the trailer was really cool. And obviously it's hard to say whether or not you're going to be excited about a class just by this type of footage, but I think it looks cool. And we're speculating, I think you guys were talking last week that you think it could be the Huntress. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah, I forget the difference between, I mean, I know the difference between classes and ascendancies, but I forget if they're like which terms are classes versus potential ascendancies. I don't think they've announced any ascendancies that are new. So yeah, like there's a Huntress coming. There was another picture that you didn't see that's like a bossy officer, mercenary kind of guy. People are still really hoping for the Druid. That before was teased as like the Druid's like in like the Templar bit. So it's like kind of allies, kind of spiritual power. So that was where they originally 100 years ago, give or take a year, advertised like changing, right? And they even did that before Diablo 4 advertised that. So they felt pretty cool about that. Or maybe it was after. But anyway, they did it cooler. So, but it was like where you could change into a wolf or a bear or whatever it was, right? Maybe a clown. Huh? That'd be rad.
Oh, no clowns.
Yeah.
I am reading this, though. It says GGG Live will begin on March 27th, and it says Twitch drops will be enabled. So I will be watching some streams because I like collecting things like that.
Yes, you do. She was collecting her PoE MTX before she even started playing PoE. Oh, what else? Dawn of the Hunt, more teasers. Oh, right. And then there were 2 of these things. I loved your comment. So this is just a link, folks that are listening. There was a Dawn of the Hunt, more teasers, and there's 2 pictures here. One of them is a picture of a unique essence monster. But I loved Erin's comment. She's like, okay, going through, don't know what that is, moving on.
That's a monster?
It's, well, inside. It's trapped inside the crystals. And you can see that there's essences, 4 essences there. So those are items you get that you can improve your gear with. But you can see it's a unique monster because of the color of the text.
I remember what the essences are for. And I remember in PoE 1 and PoE 2, they have those encounters that you get in the maps when you can click on them and it tells you what kind of essence you'd get. But I did not think that was a monster. But it does say, now I feel dumb, it says the monster is imprisoned by powerful essences.
No. That's small, blurry text. You're not going to click on the picture. But this one was cool because this is another one of the classes or oh no, this is an Ascendancy, a new Ascension coming in Dawn of the Hunt.
Let's talk about this beefy guy.
All right, you just tell me when you're done.
I like this one. I don't know. It looks like a blacksmith. I assumed it's a warrior Ascension, but I don't know off the top of my head all the other ones. I know there's other beefy men in this game. But just me.
But remember way back in the day after you converted me to role-playing games when I got into Dark Souls?
Best thing I ever did.
Andre the Blacksmith. The amount of times you were falling asleep on the couch beside me as I'm playing Dark Souls 1, but you could barely sleep because I was making all my difficult decision-making near the blacksmith going, ding, ding, ding. So it weirds me out that you get turned on by the concept of a blacksmith when Andre has scarred you for life.
But Andre also was kind of beefy and...
Yeah, but he had way less clothes on than this guy. This guy's true. All... I mean, you got to be super beefy to wear all that metal, but still. Also, things don't seem to be looking too well for him in the background. Like, everything's fallen apart except for his little blacksmith table. That's what it's called, right? Blacksmith table?
Yep, totally. He's committed to his cause. Is there another troop? I don't know the word. The word escaped me. Is there another character that this could be an Ascendancy for?
Well, the class or Ascendancy. You know what? I get them all mixed up. I forget how many classes we have so far, how many more are coming. I keep forgetting that there's going to be 2 classes per starting point, whereas in Path of Exile, we only had the 1, right? Like, for example, when you're in Path of Exile 1 and you're starting off, on the north side of the tree is the witch, just the witch, but now you can start as the witch or the sorceress, right? And every class is going to have that from their starting point. So I get them mixed up.
I'm Googling it. I want to see. I guess the mercenary is the mercenary beefy?
They're all beefy.
Okay, side note, I'm annoyed that every time I Google something, every result is a video. Sometimes I don't want to watch a video on YouTube. I just want to read the text and move on. I think the warrior is the most likely one that this Ascendancy would be for, don't you?
Yeah.
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 We're right. You heard it here first.
So neat, right? But so here, you were... Oh, I bumped the mic. Sorry, Justin, I bumped the mic. Have fun fixing that. So you and I are huge into ARPGs. You were playing ARPGs long before I do, or I dude, but with... You can close that. But with Path of Exile 1... Here, how about this? How about you explain to people that aren't already familiar with your opinion, what your opinions were about Path of Exile 1, why you did or didn't play it, why you did or didn't stop playing it or continue playing it, and then we'll get into PoE 2.
Sure. I have a lot of... Oh, sorry, Justin, I bumped the mic. This is going so well. I found PoE 1 extremely overwhelming in its vastness, is the main reason. So PoE 1, my only reason I had any success in that game was because you, Tyler, made me a build to follow. So that included the
It was a good build for all you haters, okay? It was good. You played really, really well.
I made it to endgame. Woo! I made it to maps in PoE 1. See, I'm saying the right phrases. Once I got a build that I felt was strong, I enjoyed PoE 1 a lot, but I was continuously overwhelmed with the gear. I think that was my biggest thing because of the sockets and the links, and you know, you'd set up a build on your planner with certain gem socket colors and links and headgear and, you know, chests and all that. So I found that to be overwhelming. And the skill tree is huge, but I like the skill tree being that big, but it was also, just a lot to wrap your head around. And for me, I didn't really enjoy spending off time or spending time while I was playing on the internet, researching, figuring out what I was going to do. I like to just kind of go into the game and feel it out as I go. So to move to PoE 2, one of the things I liked the most about that game is that they really made it more intuitive with the gear and the skills and how it all works together. Right now, I don't have good gear in that game, so I think that's what's really holding me back. But when it comes to the skills, I can just cut the gems. I don't feel limited with color and the same kind of links and things that limited me in PoE 1. And I feel more confident in switching up a skill and trying something new. If I feel like Earthquake isn't working for me as a warrior, for example, I can switch it up with another skill and I don't feel like I have to redo my entire build.
And you were mentioning the passive tree, the skill tree. When you look at that now, I mean, it's still just as big. Sure, you have some experience with Path of Exile 1, and so some familiarity as you were looking through, even if it was a pre-planned build, you have some familiarity with acknowledging terms and what they mean. How intimidated or not do you feel by this tree compared to the first one? Because you started off playing early access with Justin and I. It was new for all of us at the same time. So what was that experience? I didn't make any build for you. I had no way of making a build for you. I didn't know what the game was going to be like. So you were on your own. You were doing your own thing. How did you feel with the passive tree in that regard?
Firstly, if you don't know me, I'm an overthinker and I get anxious really easily. So I think part of the freedom of PoE 2 was that, yeah, we were all starting at the same level. We all have different degrees of comfort with the first game, but like you just said, you couldn't build me a character. So we were all exploring it for the first time. So I think that the tree is kind of linked to the skills in that way, where in PoE 1, I felt like I couldn't change things as easily or quickly. Whereas with PoE 2, yeah, it's hard to respec, that's for sure. But if I am trying out the totems, for example, and I like them, then it kind of gave me that direction on the tree to be like, okay, I like totems, so where am I going and what am I trying to grab? I still made lots of mistakes, and people, when I was streaming the game, they helped me out a lot by pointing out areas where I was kind of messing up on the tree, but I didn't feel as scared of spending those skill points, whereas in the first game, I'd hoard like 8 skill points before I'd put them in.
Sure, but I also want to point out that they're not mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between min-maxing and being like really wrong. You know what I mean? Like, a mistake would be you start as a warrior and you're investing into spell damage while you're using attacks, right? Whereas not being sure if you're going to use totems, how much to invest into totems versus your own attack speed or attack damage or your own accuracy. That's just figuring the game out. That's not being min-maxed isn't really making a mistake. I think a lot of more experienced Path of Exile players can definitely forget the process of making a new build, but that is really cool that you were able to recognize some of these things too, compared to the first game. And the respecking is a big thing. So you've really enjoyed, let's see, the freedom of skills, which is coupled with the item freedom and skill gem freedom. You've enjoyed the ability to respec, right? Do you feel like you introduced me to RPGs with Fallout 3? Fallout 3 had an unforgiving leveling system, right? You remember my spreadsheets. It was to make sure that I was min-maxed, but once you leveled, and that was it. There was no way to do that. Even games like Dark Souls, they started off unforgiving, and then slowly as DS2, DS3, and Elden Ring come around, the respecking gets a little bit easier and easier. Do you think that sure, that makes the first experience better, but do you find that the ability to respec takes away from some of the harshness that you appreciate in some of the ARPG experience?
I don't think that it takes away from it in this game, because I guess the difference between those other ones is that like Elden Ring and Fallout are, you're putting your points, so to speak, into your skills. So you're just kind of maxing out a skill as far as like strength or dexterity and like that. So with PoE, I think it's more, I don't feel like it takes away from it, because it's so easy to trail off on the tree in a way, and, invest in something that you think you're going to like, and then it doesn't work out. The game is punishing enough with just the randomness of the drops and how you actually get gear and things. So I think that having the respec option in PoE 2 enhances it. It doesn't limit it. And I think it's expensive enough that it's not like, oh, I can just wipe my character whenever I feel like it and start over, What about you? What do you think?
I like the respecking aspect as well. I love harshness. I love having a really firm consequence to a choice. But like you said, I think this game's big enough that you can still have that harsh experience in other areas and allow the freedom to try things out. This game's designed to play for thousands of hours, not hundreds of hours. So if you need to try something out, but it takes you, even if it's 30 hours to try something out, like some games you're finished and done with in 30 hours, and not everybody has that time. You and I mean, in the life that we have, that's just like, if something takes 30 hours to try out, I don't like it. Like, that's one of the biggest criticisms people have to my early access experience, right? I criticize the current setup of the game for not being accommodating to basic archetypes. And I don't want to spend 30 hours of my time playing an archetype that doesn't interest me, so that eventually the archetype that I do want to play is, okay, now it's good, but only 30 hours after the fact when things are level 17 or whatever they are, right? Just because I don't have that time. If I had that time, 30 hours wouldn't be nothing. So for the ability especially when I have, and we're back. I was mid-sentence, no idea what I was talking about, but stuff is happening.
I was going to ask you, how many times did you respec in PoE 2? Because I feel like you did it a lot. Well, okay, let me preface that with like not just taking away a node here or there because you didn't click the right thing, or you wanted to change something from strength to intelligence or whatever. Like, when did you eliminate a lot of your tree and go a different route?
There were times where I'd run out of gold and I even started a new character because I thought it would be better time well spent. But I think, and I put a lot of time into early access at the beginning. I would say I've done 5 full respecs on the first character that I started. Just trying things out too. Like, it's not always just based off of some sort of frustration or an idea not working, but it's like, okay, like, this is really cool, but I'm not in the mood for this, and I don't want to spend another 20 hours leveling a character so that I have 2 characters based on my mood. At the beginning, it was, I'm really into minions. Okay, this isn't working. Let's try curses. And then at the end, I'm like, oh, curses are really cool, but they're just not strong enough compared to what I see other people playing. So how can I have curses, but then add spell damage? And so, but then, of course, because I was starting off as a sorceress, completely respec and do that. And then you realize that offense is way more valuable than defense starting off. And so I'm like, okay, well, so now I can get rid of this and I can add that to cast time, or I can add that to duration time, or whatever it is. And so, yeah, there are quite a few different respecs, but it was all with the appreciation of trying to enjoy the original experience with the game. For me, I've primarily just tried different types of like a default minion or caster experience. So far, none of the other archetypes interest me, so I'm really excited for point 2. But yeah, what we were talking about before the interruption was respecking. I love respecking in Path of Exile too. I think it can be just as harsh of a game as I like. Like I remember Fallout 3, not allowed screwing up a decision. You make a wrong decision, it's like, well, live with it or restart. And I love that in games, but to me, Path of Exile isn't a 20 or 30 or 40 hour experience when you're hoping to grind endgame over and over and over. And that's the love of what you want to do. The ability to respec a little bit is fantastic. And I actually, whether it's balanced in my or someone else's opinion right now, to me is irrelevant. It'll be balanced the way they like it in terms of what gold costs, early stages, late stages, all that kind of stuff. They'll have it figured out, and I'm excited for it. I quite like it. But with point 2 coming out, so there's a big patch coming out, right? You saw the announcement that it looked like a brand new League launch, and I guess that's how they're doing early access. So cool. So this new patch is 0.2.0. Now, you were originally referencing, and we've already discussed that we really like Path of Exile too, but we're both stuck and we're both, I guess, frustrated with it. Or I shouldn't put words in your mouth. I am. But I know that'll change. It just needs another patch. And so I'm really excited for point 2. You were playing PoE 2 for a while and you were quite excited for it, but you haven't played in a while. So not ragging on the game at all, but why did you stop playing and segue into, because yeah, we've talked about the things that you really appreciate in Path of Exile 2 compared to the original. So tell us a little bit why you stopped playing the current build that you're playing. And it's been what, a month since maybe you've played? So why haven't you played in so long? What is it that's been your deterrent or deterrence? And as a result, what are you really looking forward to or hope they change or fix or add in the patch coming out, point 2?
I don't know if my reason for not playing anymore is directly related to PoE itself. There's been a couple other games I've been excited for that I've been streaming and playing a lot of and really enjoying it. The Sims 4 came out with an expansion that I'm obsessed with. So I don't want to rag on PoE and say that I stopped because of that game. I think that there's a couple other factors there that led me to kind of focus on other things. But there was a time when I was really playing a lot of Path of Exile 2, and I really enjoyed playing my character. And I think that being in, what's the next phase called? Is it called Cruel?
I don't know.
The you do the first 3 acts and then it gets harder. I think it's called Cruel. Once I got to that boss that I can't seem to do anything with, I just didn't really feel like grinding other areas of the map and hoping for a better drop. And I think that one of my only criticisms is I don't feel like there's a good payout for the battles that we do in the game. And I don't feel like I have good enough gear, and I'll be battling an enemy and struggling and just fighting. And then the drop is just a couple, low level things, or even a lot of things that aren't even for my character. And so that's discouraging. And I got stuck on this wolf guy that I can't remember his name, and then I just felt like I don't really feel like grinding anymore.
There was the Viper lady too, remember, with like all the shields and spears and the people around. Coolest looking boss fight on the planet.
It was a cool boss fight, but we couldn't pass her without Justin's help. And he came in with one of his very high level characters and just, it wasn't a one-shot kill, but he really obliterated her. So yeah, I think she's the Act 3 boss. One of the Act 3 bosses at the end, right?
In Elden Ring, when you're finishing the game and it's like this boss, and then this boss, and then this boss, and then this boss, and it just keeps going until you get to unfortunately, the worst boss, the Elden Beast. But like, it's a really sweet little gauntlet. I loved that at the end of Act 3. It was just like, okay, this boss is epic. This has got to be the end of the end act boss. And it's like, no, there's another one. Oh man, this was epic. This has got to be, and then it keeps going. But at least Act 3 ended with a really good boss, in my opinion. But yeah, that was a big deal. I even forgot your question. You just reminded me of it. What'd you say?
I couldn't remember if the Viper Lady was the final boss, but she's not the final one in the third act. Okay, but she was a recent enough one that by the time I was grinding through Cruel again, I think I got some fatigue with that kind of those kind of battles. And I love playing co-op, but I also like to be successful on my own. So I didn't want to have to rely on someone dropping in with an overpowered character and just destroying everything for me. So, and then it got to the point where I know more updates were happening or are going to happen. So I was just like, I'm going to wait until they do this refresh, and then I'll go back and see what I can do with that character and see if I want to respec or try something new, or if I'm have a little bit more stamina to continue.
Cool. So, all that being said, what would get you back into Path of Exile 2 with this 0.2 patch? I mean, obviously there's hype. You'll probably try it no matter what, not knowing how the changes. I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch of changes. It's going to be a massive patch. So a whole bunch of the changes that we see that we don't think will directly relate to our character will completely impact our experience anyway. But outside of that, what are some specific things that you think would be extra exciting for you, specifically things you're looking forward to that would help or encourage your experience?
I think maybe because I've been away from the game for so long, I probably would start a new character with, if they're releasing a new class, I would try that. Or maybe just pick another one.
Sorry, Justin, I forgot to put my phone on D&D.
I think since I've been away from it for so long, I would just maybe try a new class and see if them coming into it after having all the data and everything that they've learned from early access so far, maybe this new class is going to be more balanced, well balanced. Like I said, I don't think I stopped really because of the game itself. It was more just these other things happening in my life, and it just fell down on my priority ladder. But I guess I could ask you the same thing. You have a podcast about this game and you haven't played very much. So what happened for you? Or if that's something you've talked about a lot and I missed it, then you can just tell me to shush.
No, I like telling you to shush. But I think the big thing that I'm looking forward to is just the vanilla experience. They're going to start a new league. So all the data that they're going to be looking at is only with like the refreshed state. Like all the characters we have would technically go into what their version of standard would be. And this would be a new league, and then that's where they get all their new data from. What supports are people using, skills, what do they bail on, what do they use? Of course, I mean, you have to take into consideration everyone's going to be hyped for all the new content, so, you know, that's tough to go through. But for me, I like the vanilla experience, so I'm looking forward to playing minions start to finish. I'm looking forward to difficult boss battles, but doable boss battles. I like being able to get better at a fight without needing to guess, just by getting better with experience and practice. So there are some boss battles that I've mentioned that I think need some tweaking. And then there's some archetypes that I'm looking forward to. I mean, this patch is going to be huge. They have had, this is the first big change that they've made. Everything else has just been fixes. I mean, sure, they've added some stuff to the end game, but that's not technically the core experience. Those are still kind of like fixes. You know what I mean? It's like adding a fin or some tinted windows to your car. It's not actually fixing like your chassis and your wheels and your engine. Yeah. But it's just, so this is the first time, like you remember when I worked at EA and it was always about game builds? Like, okay, this is the game build version, alpha version 0.1, 1.1, 1.2, like the game build. This is going to be the first like big game build change. So I mean, I have my hopes and dreams, but I think my hopes and dreams, even though they're the ones that I've talked about for the last 4 months, I think my hopes and dreams are quite small in comparison to the scope of what this is going to be. You know, they have so much feedback all the way going into this December. Like, it's almost your birthday, and they haven't had any major build changes for the game. So I'm like, I could answer the question, but like you said, it'd be repetitive of the last few weeks. But like, I still think that my opinions are going to be quite small compared to the changes. So with that being said, there's been a few times where there are some things though that I still really hope get touched, because it does change if I'm still going to enjoy the experience or not. But I've wanted to make a few posts where it's like, I know you guys are hardworking, but please don't forget about this, or please remember this. I'm like, because you know, like, it's like you said, you're an overthinker, right? And anybody can be, even the company. And so it could be like you have so much to consider that you forget about the basics, right? So I highly doubt that's going to be the case. So I'm holding off on putting any just in case posts out there until then. But anytime I say just in case, I always think of Justin because Alva, do you remember Alva in the first game? She was one of the NPCs that would show up, and she would always, while you're mapping or going through the campaign, she'd be like, just in time. But she kind of, how she says Justin, it kind of separated itself from it. So Justin always heard it. And so as a result, I always heard it every time she was like, Justin. So Time. Justin's last name is Time, everybody. So go searching for Time, Mr. Time. So anyway,
with that, then you remind me as you were talking about the whole reset thing that they do, which I forgot about, which is kind of silly, but I don't have enough time to cram in all that content in the 3-month leagues that they were doing for PoE 1, which I assume will be the same kind of cadence for PoE 2. But if we're looking at a full reset of the tree and like you said, your character is going to be kind of put to the standard equivalent, then I'll definitely restart, I think, as well, and have a new character to get that vanilla experience, as you say. And I think even just, and I was going to say this too earlier, having the experience of going through Act 1, 2, and 3, and then going back and doing Cruel, already I felt quicker and I felt better going through the acts because they were more familiar. And I knew what the boss was going to do. And I knew which areas I didn't need to explore. And the first time I play a game, I tend to be very thorough and I want to explore every area. But going through it for the Cruel mode, I got to that annoying wolf boss pretty quickly. So I think resetting, new character, being able to understand and recognize the maps and at least some of the mechanics, I think it'll be a more positive experience already.
So you started as, was it Warrior or whatever it was, and you were doing I don't know which one it was, Warrior Titan, whatever it was, and you're doing totems and melee smashy smash, and you still have that itch? Like, do you think when you pretend like today's Thursday, we're recording the podcast a little bit early for our normal schedule. Let's say the league always comes out on Friday. This one's going to come out on a Friday too, in a week and 2 weeks. If it was, let's pretend it was tomorrow, you still in the mood for the Warrior? You're going to go that same route and try and min-max your build and see what's new with the build you were in the mood for? Or are you feeling a different itch to scratch?
I think I'll try something new. It's no offense to the Warrior because I really enjoyed playing that one.
The Warrior's offended.
I think that it's been so long since I've played it. I'll either try the new one that they're teasing, whatever we suspect, the Huntress or whatever, or maybe I'll look and see what all the really, really successful players are playing and I'll try that one. What is the one that everybody does that's really strong? I guess it doesn't matter. It's going to be all different.
Well, hopefully it's different. The monk is guaranteed really strong. That one's been really good. People have been successful with a lot of different classes, but there's been very specific skills that people are quite excited about. But yeah, once you get to endgame, there's a lot more variety. Like the strength really comes into play. It's just wanting to get there, that there's a little bit more specific paths that can't, quote unquote, need to be taken. So yeah. No, that's really cool. So you're gonna go all fast and huntressy, hey?
Maybe. I'm gonna change it up. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I do like the new class. I like new things. So I might try the new one, or I'll just go back and see what other classes, because like literally I said before, I only ever played the Warrior, so I don't have experience in any other character. Are you going to go with I guess I'm assuming you'll do your usual minions. But are you going to approach it any differently with the new patch?
Well, it depends. I mean, there's still, people give me a hard time for it, but there's still certain archetypes that I like and certain ones that I don't. Minions are always going to be an archetype that I like because I like the concept of a persistent army around me. I'm not a fan of casting, so the whole SRS or Righteous Spirit isn't a style that I enjoy, despite the fact that it shares the same in-game tag. So looking forward to that. I love the concept of not necessarily being strong myself, but making everybody around me weak and laughing at them as they slowly die. So that's why I've always enjoyed things like bleed or temporal chains and poison. And so far, the ability to combine a strong curse along with minions, those nodes aren't too far separated. And with how the tree pre-point 2 is allocated with lack of defenses or life, I guess I could say, on the tree, I enjoy the tree or the choices that I have to make, and I like that spread. There's enough in there for me to get enough of my minion survivability, damage, and curse efficiency and curses work very different now too. So I've been enjoying playing with that, and I'm looking forward to that. So right now I'm familiar with how to combine them quite well. So hopefully there's something that lets me continue that combination. And so that's what I'll be aiming for. But if that ends up being dramatically changed and that doesn't work out anymore, now that PoE Planner is working for the beta, I'm really, it'll be a lot easier to come up with something that's enjoyable. Because before, and I love this concept, like people, regular listeners know how much frustration I have with the company relying on third-party stuff as opposed to just the third-party stuff is also there, but the game's good enough for you to theory craft. I loved the early access experience earlier on because everybody had to load the game to answer their questions, and the explanations they had are phenomenal. So now that PoE Planner is there, I can plan while I'm outside, and I'm like, oh shoot, and then I'll like stop mowing the lawn, I'll bring up my phone, I'm like, can I do this, this, and this? Oh, I can reach that cluster if I have one extra node. So where can I get it? And then I'll keep mowing my lawn. I'm like, where can I get that extra node from? You know what I mean? And then it'll come when I'm like trimming the trees or something. So I think it'll be a much more enjoyable experience, but I'm still going to try and get like persistent minions with curse efficiency going. That's going to be my primary goal, and I hope that it works.
So you're saying all of the chores are going to take twice as long now because you're going to be stopping looking at your phone?
Yeah, and it's springtime, so now our chores list has doubled, and they'll be taking twice as long. Yeah.
I forgot I should have mentioned that when we were talking about the things I like about PoE2. I love the little videos that they have for the skills now. I absolutely love that I can see what it does. I don't have to go to YouTube, and I can read in more or less an understanding manner what the actual skill does. So shout out to whoever's idea that was. That is awesome for new people and people who don't consume this game in their every waking moment.
Have you heard? So Oliver, he's our son. Well, I know you know that, listeners. Did you know, dear, your son's name? So Oliver, he enjoys watching stuff. He loves strategy. He loves games like Dominion, and he loves the concept of, why I pick certain plays in football and Madden and like defensive matchups and sports and all that kind of stuff. He's got a strategy mind, and he loves that kind of, I guess you could call it the math of it all. And so he watches PoE, and he's giving his advice and asking questions and learning. And so he's enjoying it. But we totally don't let our kids watch us play graphic games like PoE. But anyway, he's watching. And as you start talking about the video, as you get familiar with the game, you start making your decisions a little bit more quickly. And because I was the sorceress, the spell side of, I forget what category it was under, but the first skill that would show up was always Flame Wall. And so you've heard him, like, he'll walk around the house talking like, what's his name? Eben, I think it is, that does the voices. Anyway, Oliver walks around the house going, Flame Wall. Flame Wall, because the voice will say Flame Wall, but then I'll like make my choice or move away or go somewhere else. And so, we never hear the rest of what Flame Wall does, but he walks around the house going, Flame Wall.
Yeah, he can recite those all pretty well. When you were talking about the play style that you like, did you ever try the character that controls time? I know it was the chrono. Is this a loaded question? I'm sorry.
It is. So that's the funny thing is, because I like slow-mo and I like auras and I like debilitating people, the chronomancer was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. But it took a month for just the community, myself as well, our listeners, everybody else, Justin, to realize that the class that you start as, the sorceress, is easily the weakest class to start with, whether that's because of the starting nodes or whether that's how they have the spells scaled that they originally recommend that you use. Whatever it is in the background, for some reason, the sorceress just royally struggles, just so bad. And I had forgotten or didn't realize, I forget what the combination was, but classes have different starting nodes. Right. So even though I'm starting as the sorceress and the witch also has the same starting node, the first two sections of clusters that you get are actually different. So I'm getting as a sorceress a lot of spell casting, mana regen, whatever it is. Whereas if I started as a witch, there'd be a lot of minion damage and things like that. And I'd forgotten that. I forget what it was. But anyway, so there was that struggle of trying to make a minion character start at the beginning with a sorceress instead of the witch, because I'm missing out on like 90% increased damage for minions. But after I realized that, and I was fine trying to like get the caster going, and then I just respec into minions later on and figure all that out. It was still an extremely weak experience for people that wanted to play the archetype of a sorceress. It was just a very weak leveling experience. So even Justin was laughing in one of our episodes about how to level comfortably as a sorceress, he had to equip a quarterstaff and play with skills that were quote unquote designed for the monk's leveling experience. And then he would respec into a sorceress archetype later on. So yeah, I've tried. But Justin and I are also laughing about how much we hate ascending currently. And that's the process, of course, of going from just your generic class into the specific ascendancy that you want to be. And that would be the chronomancer. So it would be really cool if that works. We'll have to see. I likely won't be starting as a sorceress trying to get minions going for point 2. I'll probably be starting as a witch. I don't like any of the witch ascendancies, which is unfortunate. It's the chronomancer that I like. But I mean, there's going to be 36 ascendancies at some point. Right. I mean, even think about like the 2 ascendancies you had to choose from. Mm-hmm. Both of those even looked tempting for my minion character. You know what I mean? Like the bonus life and what was it? Like the small nodes getting increases or bonuses, and even like having the like minion life investment matter for your totems, but you have your minion totems there. So there's a lot of really creative things to go about. So I'm not necessarily looking for a stereotypical experience, but because I struggled so much with what I thought was a stereotypical experience before, I'm probably just going to start with stereotypical experience, make sure that that's working fine, get used to it, and then keep going. But yeah, I dabbled with the chronomancer a little bit. Yeah.
I forgot it was a sorcerer, or I didn't know it was a sorcerer class and that the chronomancer was an ascendancy. For some reason, I pictured the chronomancer being a monk thing.
Oh, there's like some of the pictures, I guess, are a little bit like that too. I think not the Inquisitor. What was it called? Starts with an I. Anyway, there was a monk one where it's like they're meditating, but it seemed like it was time. But it was just the image that was like that. It's
right.
Not there. Anyway, we need to record After Dark here pretty soon, and we have a squirrel in our roof, people. We have a squirrel in our roof, and it. I don't actually think it's there, but we need to make sure that it's not. And my wife and I don't have the heart or conscience, or we just don't want to kill the squirrel. We just want it gone, but we don't want to kill its babies. So we have somebody, pest control, showing up today to get rid of the squirrel and its little loved ones. And they're going to be here any minute. So we're going to wrap up. But thank you, everybody, for listening. And Justin, don't come back. This was great.
Justin, please come back.
But thank you, everybody, for listening. This was, what was it? I have to bring up my notes. Hold that.
See, Justin, this is why we need you.
This is episode 285. Goodness gracious. Oh, right. And we have a Discord that I should have mentioned at the beginning. Go to our website, foreverexiled.com, if you want to join. And you don't have to talk, but you can talk lots, but you can just be there and snoop, or you never have to join. That's fine, too.
You don't even have to talk about PoE. I go in there and I just shoot memes around and make fun of Tyler. So that kind of activity is also welcome. The Discord's fun.
What do you think if we restricted, you know how like you earn levels in Discord, right? And you're like, oh, congratulations, you're level 2. If we restricted links, i.e. GIFs, to like level 2 or level 3?
I think it's fine. In my Discord, I initially wanted to restrict links, but I love GIFs, or whatever. So I ended up not restricting links for that reason. I ended up restricting adding photos as an incentive to rank up. But I think if you made it rank 2, then that's pretty easy to get to and you'd be fine.
GIFs are like, uh-oh. Hey, Justin, I hit a button. I've never hit that button before.
We're sorry.
So anyway, what were you talking about? Yeah, that was like panic central right there. You guys aren't going to hear that, but my wife and I like simultaneously crapped ourselves.
We just stared at the screen in shocked silence, thinking that we really messed this up. We were talking about GIFs or GIFs as being your primary mode of communication.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Justin, I'm really sorry. Spacebar, that's a very, very scary button for future reference. But yeah, GIFs. So anyway, if you want to hang out with us and GIFs and stuff, foreverexiled.com gets you access to, well, us, but then also Patreon and our Discord. And if you want to hang out with us in game, don't know how many people are actually playing right now, but once 2.0 comes out, it's going to be crazy. Our global in-game is /2121. We use that for both Path of Exile 1 and 2. Watch, there's going to be like 100 people right now in one of the globals, and they're just like smack talking, having a great time, and then all of a sudden there's going to be like a few thousand people show up like, from Forever Exiled and just completely derail them. So anyway, if you're one of those current 2121 people, we apologize, but we're coming soon. And thank you everyone for listening, and for our patrons, we will see you in After Dark. Love ya!
Bye.
That was like the highest pitch bye on the planet.
Can I do it again?
Yeah.
Bye. No, that was bad too. Bye. Wait, don't you do a sign off usually? Don't you say like you're who you are again?
Oh yeah, I'm Tyler, Record of Days. She's Echo, Erin,
Shush.
Sierra.
I'll do it. I'm Erin, Echo Sierra 19. Come follow me on Twitch. I'm fun. Shameless plug.